Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Sunday's turning out to be a fairly decent day out here.
Oh, good. Yeah, it was supposed to be yucky today, but it looks pretty good here too. Thanks for all the accolades. Monica was telling me today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a good class. I wasn't, it was a good class. I enjoyed it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that too. Like just thinking of ways to kind of tweak my own presentation.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it twice a month, the
Okay.
class, and then we're gonna do this one once every couple of months. I just feel like there's not as much of a desire for this one.
Yeah.
It's there, but it's just I feel like doing it once a month is people like, we only have 3 or 4 people in this class, so
Yeah, the refinance one, that was definitely gonna be the the popular one because you have new notaries all the time. And that's
yeah.
one of the main things that's the scariest. Is like, oh my God, what do I say? How do I say it and not commit UPL?
Right, exactly.
So
Do you want to give me access or did you already?
okay. Let's see here.
And I gotta get back to.
All right, I just pressed it. So
There we are. Okay, let me see what I can do. There, you see that on there? Documents.
yes, uh-huh.
Is it full screen?
Well, yeah, because the panel of the windows are on the side, but yeah, it's very clear.
Okay. So
All right, so let's see.
let's just see who shows up today.
I need a refresher on this too. Me and my sister own another business, and so she needed a car, so we went and bought the car last week, about 10 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we bought it in the business name. So the general manager came to our table because I guess they thought they were going to lose the sale. So the salesman guy came back with him. Um, so I was able to pitch him right then and there. I haven't
What did he say? What was his response? I'm interested.
he was, he was a little, when I handed him the card, he was a little taken back, like, what is this for? And then I just was like, I understand that I'm a notary, I'm a mobile notary. And so I understand that sometimes y'all need somebody to go out and actually close some of your loans. And I understand it's not the best thing to take your people off the floor because that's not what they do best. And the salesman guy that we had, he was like, yeah, because I hate
Yeah, they don't
it.
like doing it.
Yeah. And I said, I've taken the course, so I understand how important it is to get it right the first time. He was like, yeah, for sure. So, I wasn't how I would have been dressed if I had specifically gone to pitch him because I was technically the customer.
Oh, you know what though? That's perfect when you're a customer and you're like, hey, but by the way, because you're a customer, so he can't blow you off,
Right.
you know? So you
You
get to have a moment of his time, which I'm telling you, they think that they're the best thing since sliced bread. So,
right. Yeah, exactly. So I mean he was all right, he
and
like
so
I
did
said,
he say, well, I'll call you if I need you?
yeah, he did. And
So
so
now what I would do is this week I would go in dressed up and I would ask to speak for him by name and I'd say, remember me? I was here last week buying a car. I just wanted to check in. We kind of had a quick introduction, but I want you to know that I am fully capable of making sure that all of this stuff gets done in a timely fashion. And I don't need however much notice you need. You tell him, I just need this much notice and I'll get it done for you same day turnaround.
okay, cool beans. So you won't have money hanging out, right?
Yeah, yeah. Be like, you don't want to have your money hanging out, right? And he'll be like, what? What do you mean? How did you know that? Told you I took a course.
All right, exactly. So, we we was able to do that a little bit there. So
That's awesome. What kind of car did she get?
she's a nurse practitioner, so she's got a new job where she has to. They're doing because of COVID, people are too scared to go to the hospital and get their checkups and stuff like they should. So she's been doing house calls. So she got a Honda Odyssey, the minivan.
Nice.
So, but she's about that life anyway because she likes to refurbish furniture. I have a small SUV. I got a Murano, so she was always calling me when she had a car
And
to
you're
come
like,
and
stop
get
it.
furniture. Yeah.
It's
And we
like when
always
you own a truck, everybody
somewhere.
calls you.
You're right. Yeah. So now she's got a minivan, so we can get three times as much stuff in there as we could my truck. So we're both excited.
Nice. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, because neither one of us likes, like, we don't go to like Rooms to Go and buy furniture. We go to antique places and refurbish it. So,
That's nice. I like that. I have this thing behind me that you can see.
the
Kind of,
hutch. Uh-huh.
yeah. And it's just, I don't know if I like the color so much. It just feels kind of grandma-y to me. And I just don't know what to do though.
Look up milk paint. You might like milk paint.
Mhm.
They have
Okay,
a lot of like pastel colors and stuff you might like.
sweet. I'm gonna look that up.
Hmm.
Hello, hello. We have some joiners. Gonna wait just a couple more minutes and make sure everybody shows up. Hi, Lana. How are you?
Good morning. This is Nana.
Good morning, Nana. We're gonna wait just a minute and see if we got a couple, because we do have a couple more people in the class, see if they show up. And if they do, great. If they don't, we'll just move on. It's all in the platform. All these documents are in the platform that we're gonna go over today. So were you guys successful in getting the documents from yesterday that I requested? Were you successful in getting any of those?
I didn't attend the meeting yesterday. I had signings. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, Alana. Netta,
Did the word search.
what's that?
The word search.
Well,
Yep.
no, remember I said at the end to get a sales contract, Google a sales contract, a bill of sale, an Ohio title, and an odometer statement.
You know what? I forgot about that. I did.
It's all right. It's all right. It's just better if you can have it up on your computer and look at it. If you want to Google it real quick now, you can. So
Okay.
Google an Ohio title, automotive title, a automotive sales contract, which whenever I Google that, it comes up with something weird. So you may not get what I get. I'll put it up on the screen when I get it.
Okay.
And then a bill of sale and an odometer statement.
Let's sell an odometer.
That's what I said yesterday, right, Tammy?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm trying to find where I wrote it down so that I can confirm, but I think so. Odometer statement, bill of sale, sales contract, and one more thing.
Ohio title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, I don't work at a dealership, so I'm not able to get a hold of this paperwork. I wish that I had some because I would just upload it and you guys would all get it emailed to you. And then when you go to Google these things, a lot of them don't show up. So we're just going to learn with what we have, what I have. And like I said, everything is on the platform too. So you should be able to also reference it there. And there's a pretty good detailed explanation for what everything is. We'll wait a couple more minutes. It's 11:02. We'll wait till 11:05. And then if we don't get any other joiners, we'll just start with the documents. in the heck? Wow, it goes really slow when you're waiting, doesn't it? It's only 11:04 now. I was like, man.
Is the Ohio title also called a certificate of title?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the, if you can find this one, this state of Ohio one that I have up on the screen now, that'd be great, but just because it kind of points out.
Yeah, that's the one I was able to pull up.
Yeah, good. Hi, Vanessa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, we are just one more minute and then we'll start. Okay, not even a minute. It's now 11:05. So this is the Ohio Certificate of Title, the one that I asked you to find an Ohio one. And if you'll see on this, on the left side, it just gives the information about the car. But then on the right side, you'll see there's two spots that are circled on the screen that I have up. If you have the same one up, then you can see that. And that's where the notary, that's where your notary goes. That's where the seller's signature and stuff goes. And then right underneath that is where the notary stamp and the notary's information goes. So one of them is going to be for the seller and one of them is going to be for the buyer. It's a pretty easy document. Not very hard to execute for a notary. If you've done it for any length of time, it's pretty self-explanatory. And so this is the way I'll do this is I'll just go, if you have any questions on this, we'll just ask them while we're on the document. So does anybody have any questions about an Ohio title or a notarizing a title? It'll look similar to this.
Are you able to make it a little bit bigger?
Maybe. Only problem is we lose a little bit of the top of it, but is that better? Okay, so it's a small spot on there for your seal. You might have to add a certificate to it, but hopefully it's big enough for you to be able to put your seal in there. And then you can see there's this part of the bottom too, which requires the applicant's signature and a co-applicant, and then you put in your information as the notary, you know, down there. Okay. So let me get my other form up here. Sorry about that. This is also another view of that, of a title work for Ohio. And it's sort of just a little bit clearer. It sort of shows you seller's signature and this part must be notarized. But you can see it's slightly different than the other one we just looked at. The information's in a little bit different place, but they're all going to look a lot like this. Okay. Right. Let me get the next document in the So this one, unfortunately, is really difficult to see because it's so small. But this is what a sales contract will look like. And I mean, even when I zoom in on it a little, first let's stay big so you can see this is the top of the contract up here. And then I'll zoom in a little. It makes it a little bit harder to see, but so you're gonna have the buyer's full name, the sellers, so that'll be the dealership's name there, the annual percentage rate, the finance charge. And you can go over these things if you feel comfortable just reading them line for line. Like let me move this out of the way for myself. You can read these things line for line here if you feel comfortable doing that. If you don't, the only thing that I would make sure I went over on this is their monthly payments. And that's going to be right here. It says your payment schedule will be, and it'll say their number of payments and the amount of the payments. And I would definitely go over that if you do have them sign a contract, so they at least get that information if you don't feel comfortable. It's really good if you read the documents before you show up at the people's house, because then you won't feel as nervous to do it because you'll kind of have a good idea of where the information is. And then this just goes over anything that was in the car deal, a warranty, gap contract, anything like that at all that was included in the car deal is going to be in this. Well, now it doesn't want it there. In this. And then you see down here at the bottom, the buyer signs, the co-buyer signs, the seller will sign there. And then the only thing you've got to worry about is A and B here, where the buyer signs. They also need to sign up here in this box. Every state's contract is a little bit different. That's why this is sort of difficult to do, because every single state's going to have just a little bit of different nuances on their contracts. So most likely the lender will have tagged where they want the signatures to be, and you'll just follow the tags. But just try to familiarize yourself with the contracts for the state that you're in, because there's going to be different spots for different signatures. And I can tell you this, if there's information printed in the box, then they need to sign in that box. If there's no information printed in that box, then they don't need to sign there. Does that make sense? Okay. So, question? Okay.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
No question.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Are you sure?
Yes. I
Okay.
was, no, because I was looking at first I was looking at why when they had to sign the pink box if it wasn't nothing in there, but I'm reading it a little bit now, so I'm understanding it.
Yeah, good. It should all, so the thing with these packets is it's all common sense. That's really what it comes down to. If you see an area that has information in it, pertinent information, and there's a signature box, it requires a signature. If it says NA or there's no information in the box, then it's not going to require a signature. But like this one says buyer's not required to obtain credit, life, and or accidental health insurance coverage. So that one they're always going to sign. That's part of this contract. Just it's a disclosure that this particular state wants the customer to know, and so it's on that contract. So these contracts are state generated, state by state generated. They're federally regulated. Okay. All right. Let me get to the next document. We talked yesterday about an agreement to provide. This is a really bad one because it's so small, but so it's going to be really blurry, but I will try to, so I apologize. You're going to really have to look at that one, but this one is pretty self-explanatory. It's up here is going to be the name of the finance company. And then this is going to be the purchaser's information in here. This will be the make, model, year, VIN number of the car right there. Then this is going to be their insurance information, and then more insurance information over here, and then they'll sign it. And you just make sure they sign and date it. An agreement to provide is just them saying that they agree to provide insurance since it's a financed vehicle. Sorry, it's such a crappy copy. Okay. So yesterday we talked about a buyer's order. A buyer's order is the pink slip, you know, that the customer can use. Let's say they purchase the car outright, or they're doing it with a credit union or another bank. This is that document that we were talking about, a purchase order. So you can see that it has all the information of the car, the odometer, and then this requires the buyer's full signature here because it looks like it's a disclosure. This requires an initial here, looks like it's another disclosure. Then it's going to go over the odometer again. I love how it's a sample and it's different in both of them. That would be a mistake. If you saw that, you would know that would be wrong if it would look like that. But I think it's just because it's just a sample copy. So let's see, then this goes over all of the selling price of the vehicle, any accessories that were sold, the sales tax, then the total cash sales price for the car. Then they have a title and registration fee that they have to pay. They have doc fees of $97, so their total fees are $157. Then now the total sales price is this. Then they're giving us cash down of $1,400. They have trade-in of $100, so their net cash down then becomes $1,500. So now their sales price for the vehicle is $3,838. And you can go over all of that. Obviously, you see up here is the two people who are purchasing the car, but you don't have to go over any of that, but you can go over these numbers if it's really simple like that. And then they just sign down here at the bottom. It's a pretty simple form. Any questions on this one? Okay, we'll move on to the next form. We'll do an application for title. Now, just once again, know that I had a hard time finding all of the forms that we talked about yesterday as well. And I feel uncomfortable going to a dealership and asking them for a packet, but maybe I'll do that so that the next time I give this class, they'll be in there. And also I'll upload them to the platform. And if you're a member, you can always revisit the platform, you know, and check in later and see if new documents have been added. And of course, I'll put a description for what the document is. So this is an application for title. This one looks like it's a California one. But it basically goes over, you know, just all the same: vehicle identification number, make, model, year, odometer. I mean, it's all going to be like the same information, right? Just in different places for different reasons. And then on this one, they sign, I think on a second page on this one, there's not a signature on this physical. But there'll be a signature on this, on the application for title. There'll be a signature on it for the borrower. I just don't see it on this one because I think I'm in California, it's on the other side, and this is only the front of it. Pretty self-explanatory as well. Any questions?
Hey, Katie, and I'm sorry, I wasn't in your class yesterday. So do they give you these like you do for a loan signing where I would make all the copies?
You make no copies. That's the beautiful thing about this. They give you the packet. You don't have to do anything with it. You just take it to the borrower and have them sign it. And if your state doesn't require notarizations on their title work, then you're not even going to do a notarization. You're just going there to make sure that the person is who they say they are, that everything gets signed how it's supposed to be signed, and that it gets done in a timely manner. And if there are any stipulations that the bank has said they need in order to fund the loan, that you pick those up and you bring them back to the dealership. And you can charge the dealership between $75 and $100 for this,
Wow.
depending on, and it should only take you, it should just be the same as a loan signing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. When you watch the video from yesterday, because it's uploaded, it'll go over pricing and it'll go over more in depthly how you're going to obtain these jobs. Okay. All right. So we're going to go on to the next document here. So this is an odometer disclosure. And like we said, this can be part of the bill of sale, or it can be by itself. There's many different ways the odometer disclosure appears, but this one's a pretty good, you guys can see it pretty well. So, so whoever is stating, the person at the dealership is saying that they, or the person who's selling the car says that they state the odometer reads this amount, make, model, body type, VIN, all of that. And then you're going to have a signature down here, and then they're going to print their name there. So this is a pretty simple form as well. These documents are, any questions on this one? These documents, I'll say it again, they're really just common sense type of stuff. You know, if you're looking at the documents, I mean, I feel bad that I don't have a full packet here, but really, in all honesty, when you get the documents, it's not going to be very hard for you to figure out what you need to do with them. I'm just kind of giving you a look at them so you have so you feel familiar with them, but it should not be very difficult at all to figure out what needs to be done. They're not super hard. Okay, so this next one is going to be just a little bit blurry because I have blown it up a little so you can see it, but it's a gap waiver form. Again, same information, and then the customer is going to sign on the document and date it down here. It's really blurry so you can't see it, but that's where the customer signs. And then this is just going to have how long their gap contract is good for. So it should be good for the entire length of the loan and for the financed amount. That's what it should say, is the financed amount and the length of the loan. It'll also break down how much they've paid for it, whether it's 300 or 700. It's not going to be a giant amount, so don't expect it to be huge unless it's a really expensive car. I mean, if it's $100,000 car, then the gap contract could be quite large. But if it's a $25,000 car, it should be like $300, unless your state. So I take that back. Colorado has a law. We can only charge 1% of the total sale. There are states that let the dealership charge whatever they like. So it could be $1,500, could be $1,200, but it's not going to be much more than that. Okay. Any questions about this? Yep.
So when I review your tapes from yesterday, it will tell me what actually this gap waiver means. Okay.
Yes,
Like,
it'll go into it. Gap is insurance on your vehicle to cover you in case you total the car and you owe more than the car is worth when you totaled it. It covers that cost.
Oh, thanks.
Yep. Okay, so moving on.
So it's optional.
It is optional. Some banks require you to get gap. Some banks will require it, like subprime lenders require it because you have low credit and stuff. But it's the only thing as an ex-finance manager, I will tell you, anytime I buy a new car, I will have gap insurance, because I
Okay.
can't tell you the number of people who came back and said, I was so grateful I had that, because you could be, you just driving down the street, you get your car totaled, and now all of a sudden you're responsible for the extra $10,000 that the insurance didn't cover. You don't have it, it goes on your credit and it'll ruin your credit.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Next form. Oops, sorry, I did not mean to do that. Man. Okay. I'm gonna do power of attorney. Okay, so this is a power of attorney. And as we went over yesterday, the power of attorney is usually it's for title paperwork. It's so that the title office can do the transfer of title. That's basically, it gives the title office the ability to sign off on the title and the title work for the seller. There might sometimes be one for the borrower, and that's also to be able to take care of title work in the event that there's something that was not done correctly. And that way the borrower doesn't have to come back into the dealership to correct it. Any questions on this one? Okay. We talked about a one and the same yesterday. So we'll go over that really quickly. So this one's really, really small. And this is actually a sheet of paper. You can't see it because it's just the top part of the paper that's printed on. And it's a one and the same. And basically, let's say your name is William J. Smith, but you go by Bob Smith. So on the top, it'll say William J. Smith, and on the bottom, it'll say Bob Smith. And then it'll say you're one and the same person. And then the customer signs right here. It's super easy. Yep, Alana. Can't hear you, you muted yourself.
Do they sign the first name or the second name? Would they sign who they're known as or their
They would
person?
use the signature that they've been using throughout the contract.
Okay,
So they're just gonna sign it with their signature. But so most likely they go by Bob, so they've been signing Bob Smith. So this part says William J. Smith, and then this part says Bob Smith, and that's one and the same. And the reason you're doing that is because they're signing as Bob Smith. Okay.
okay.
All right. All right. My dryer. We went over credit app yesterday, so we're going to take a quick look at a credit app. Okay, so this is just a standard credit application. Same, it's going to be all the information that they're going to use to give these people the loan. And it just requires a signature down here on the bottom certifying that this information is correct. Okay. Excuse me real quick, guys. I got to plug in my computer. Okay. That battery went fast. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe it's time for a new computer. That's how they get you. All right. Application for title. So I'm going to put up on here now. This is actually, no, I'm not going to share that. That'll just confuse you guys. Because it's. Well, did I already share it with you? Do you already see it? It's the non-notary states. Okay, good, because it would just end up being confusing. So then I'm going to show you a lease. You won't have a lot of these. Well, you might have them. I don't know. Kia has a really good page that I'm going to put up here and share. This is the start of a lease. This is what a lease contract looks like. They're really, really long and they're really, really confusing. I have put in the platform for the Car Dealership Navigator, I put the card that I'm going to show you next that describes what a lot of these lines are and what they mean. But the lease, again, I would try to just go over the payment amount. I wouldn't try to go over all of these numbers. It's not your job to sell the vehicle or sell a lease to somebody. That's not your job. And in fact, I would really try to refrain from it because you don't want to do what's called unwinding a deal. You don't want to say something or not understand the information so that then the customer is like, well, now I don't want to buy this car. So you make sure when you get there that you tell them, you know, you're just a notary, you're just here to get papers signed. If they have any questions, they're going to need to call the dealership. Sort of the same as we do with our loan signing. So it's sort of the same thing there. The other thing I want to go over is when to go to the dealership. You want to make sure that you don't go at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. Those are two bad days because they're very busy. And you want to make sure that you go mid-morning, not late evening, because evenings are usually the busiest time. That's when the customers are all coming in. So you want to make sure that when you go to try and get the business, that you go mid-morning to early afternoon, and not on the first of the month and not on the end of the month. So this is what a lease contract will look like most of the time, but they're really confusing. And so if you've not done one, it would be really difficult to figure out what exactly you want, what exactly you should be saying. So here is, let me make sure this is the.
So in a lease contract, do they have like terms like when you buy a house, do they have the right to cancel or no?
Well, that's going to depend on whether your state has a right of rescission. Colorado has no right of rescission when purchasing a vehicle. Once the person has signed the documents, then it's a done deal. If your state has a right of rescission, then they will have that. Leases, it just like that would just only depend on your state, but most leases don't have that in them either. Once you've leased the car, you have it until whatever the date is that you're going to turn it in. A lot of companies will give you an early turn in where you can turn in 6 months early, but that's about it. And
so is there ever a time that like maybe if you go and you have one of those contracts that they don't want to sign?
You mean for a lease?
Yeah. So like is there
If they
somebody to
don't,
call or
yeah, you'll have to call the finance manager and have the finance manager explain whatever the customer's confusion is.
okay.
And you should make sure you have the finance manager's number for that, because leases are very confusing, and people sometimes are like, well, what's this? What's this? What's this? And if you set the expectation when you get there and you say, I'm just a notary, I'm here to get the paperwork signed, make sure you are who you say you are, and make sure that all the information is gathered that the bank needs in order to fund this loan. I can't give you any legal advice, and answering any questions about this would be construed as legal advice. And then
Okay.
say, if you have any questions at all, you're going to have to call the finance manager.
Okay.
Most of the time when people are doing a lease, it hopefully has been thoroughly explained to them. I've had people come into the dealership that were going to do a lease and then decided not to because they just didn't understand how it worked. It happens, you know, and they're not easy to explain. Let me share this with you. And this is up in Kajabi, or sorry, in the Car Dealership Navigator. This is all of the definitions of stuff that's used in a lease. So money factor, that's a big one. That's the term. Money factor is a specific, it's a finance rate for a vehicle lease, and it determines how much you'll pay in finance charges. A lot of people think that there's no finance charges for a lease, and they say that, and this is what upsets customers and makes them not want to buy a lease, because they think there's no finance charges. They're just built in. They're finance charges that are built in. And so that's what the money factor is. Basically, it's a finance charge. residual value. That's going to be the estimated value of the vehicle at the end of the lease. So this is one that you'll want to just read over these definitions if you ever think you're going to do a lease. And you can also look this up on Google. It was very easy for me to find. I like Kia because they put this up for everybody to see, because they're not trying to hide anything, is how I feel about that. I don't know though. I mean, but definitely try to take a look at this and read over these definitions. So do you have any questions about any of that? Okay. Those are all of the copies of documents that I could find. So this last 10 minutes, we just, have a discussion or talk about things if anybody's got. Desiree.
Hi, I'm sorry I came in late, and you may have addressed this
Okay.
yesterday on your call, but I was just wondering, and I don't know if someone asked the question, is there let's say an auto dealership signing company like we have for loan signing companies? And
There
also,
is, it's,
okay, and my second part to that question is, can these types of loan signings these type of auto signings be done remotely? Can you be a Ron and do these types of signings?
not that I've heard of. I don't think Ron is available for these types of signings, no. But there is a website, it's Maverick Signing Services. And they will FedEx you the paperwork. And in those instances, there's one document that you're going to notarize, and it is an affidavit of identity. And you'll also need to get the customer's fingerprint for that. So make sure you have some way to do fingerprints if you're going to do Maverick signings. And they pay between $70 and $90, I think, for their signings. They don't, their pay isn't a lot, but they send you all the paperwork. It's all flagged for you. You just go to the customer's house. Those signings take about 15 to 20 minutes. They're very quick and easy.
And when I watched one of your previous videos, or that was on Kajabi, I saw where I did some searches and I did look at Maverick. And are you familiar with Route One?
Yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah, I got into their website and I noticed that they were offering webinars for their signing agents. But
so Route One
Yeah.
used to be just a I don't know how to explain it to you. So all car dealerships have a platform where they keep all their information of all of their customers, and it's how they do their sales, and it's how they follow up with people, and that's what Route One used to be. So that's new information to me that they actually have a signing service now. That's interesting.
Okay, thank you. I'll do some more research, and if I find anything else, I'll let you know.
Yeah, please share that with me, and I'll look into the Route One thing, because that would be new information for me, because they used to be just a CRM. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
CRM, yeah.
Okay, but
CRM.
this is very interesting for the time that you have to put in. Do you get a lot of business, or does it depend on your state, or how profitable would it be to just be a car dealership signing?
Well, if you got on with a couple of car dealerships, I can't say that it would be a full-time income, because I don't know that. I know that at my dealership, when I was a finance manager, I would have hired a notary and I would have had them do all of our offsite signings, because a salesperson just doesn't do the work the way that a notary would. They just don't get it done. And if you've been in the other class, Desiree, you know that the car dealership needs their documents signed and off to the bank in an incredibly timely manner. Otherwise, they're going to have money hanging out that they don't want to have hanging out. They're going to have stuff that needs to be paid for. So if I had had a notary when I was a finance manager, I would have hired them, and they would have done all of our offsite signings. And I was in a small town, and I was one dealership, but we did 10 or 20 of them a month. And if you had a couple of dealerships that were giving you 10 or 20 of these a month, you could make a nice little, profit from it.
So when you want to go direct, then you need to be talking with the finance manager at that auto dealership, or?
No, you got to get the GM is who you need to speak to. and they're
Okay.
very difficult to get to. That's why the beginning of this is a little bit of legwork. You have to be tenacious and you have to go back. But once you get in and once you do it for them and you do it satisfactorily, they will call you every time. Dealerships are creatures of habit. They're kind of old school. They don't like a lot of change. But if they have something that will save them time and money, because it's all about the money for them and getting, you know, not putting out any more than they have to, which it is for everybody. That's what it is for every business, right?
Right.
So they will hire you time and time again if you provide a service that's beneficial for them.
Okay, that's a good tip to go to the GM, and I will definitely follow up on all of that and take a look at your other classes. Thank you, Katie.
Oh, you're welcome, Desiree. All right, we have about 5 more minutes to go in this class. This one's only 45 minutes long. Any questions at all? You can ask me any question about anything. All right, well, I'm always happy when there's no questions because I feel like that means I did my job, but this will all be posted in the platform. So if you need to go back and look at it, all of the documents are posted in there if you need to go back and look at it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to the platform and you're going to see a page that looks like this. Let me get to it. And then you should be able to just click on the picture and it'll take you to the test. So there's a test for this class. So if you missed yesterday, you'll want to go back and watch that video before you try to take the test. There's not a time frame per se where you have to take the test, but you won't get your certificate from Notary Nerds University until you've taken and passed the test with an 80% or better. So you have to get 80% or better. And then you'll get your certificate. And that's in the car dealership navigator. It's pretty easy. Just click on the picture. It'll take you to the test. And it's a pretty easy fill out. You know, just fill the form out. It shouldn't take you long to take the test. I think about 20. Tammy, how long did it take you? 20, 30 minutes? 20 minutes?
Yeah, if that long, it wasn't.
Yeah,
wasn't
maybe even,
at all.
maybe even 10.
Right.
It's not a difficult test, but yeah, you would have to have watched the first video to make sure you got all of it. And then, you know, Notary Nerds University provides a ton of classes. This is an excellent opportunity for notaries to expand their skills and to learn about things that they may not have known existed. There's so many classes. Make sure you check those out. Make sure you take as many classes as whatever level you've signed up for provides for you. I'm doing a class in refinances and how to present. That's all it is just how to present a refinance. We did it yesterday was the first one, and then we're going to be we'll have 2 in April, two different classes for that. About probably 2 weeks, probably a week, and then skip a week, and then the next week. So every other week we'll have a class for that. If you're planning on doing loan signings, I definitely suggest taking that class because a vast majority of what you're going to get is going to be refinances. And when I started doing this, that was the thing I really wanted to be proficient in, because what happens is it takes 35, 45, 55, 75 minutes to do a loan signing with somebody, and it can really be done very efficiently and much faster, and where the borrower doesn't feel like they didn't understand anything. There's a way to do it where the borrower feels like they understood everything and you're conserving time. So I really do suggest taking that class. And then this one will be offered again in another, probably in May. This class will be offered again in May. So if there's no other questions or concerns, I'm going to wish you guys all a happy Sunday, and thanks for joining the class. And I don't know, take care.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. There were definitely a couple more people today.
Yeah. just checked out Route 1 because that's my old stomping ground from Detroit. So it's in the suburb of Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not,
thought all they did was CRM. That was surprising.
I'm not seeing quite yet where they are offering signing service. So I'm still looking for it. But hey, I was thinking, why not you, baby?
I've
Why
been
not
called,
you? Why don't you start a signing service for auto? Maverick has got the West Coast on lock.
you need to message Monica and tell her you told me that. She will laugh because that's what her and I have discussed. And we were gonna just run headlong, into the wind with it. But then her and I had a conversation about it, and it turns out we kind of feel like there's a little bit more to it. And we wanted to do some more research before we started. And, I just started with land title, and I really want to get some ground under my feet with them before I start trying to do other stuff. So right now, because I was going to help Monica like you're helping her, but I'm just not in a capacity to do it. I wouldn't be able to offer her anything beneficial. I don't have time to do anything but what I'm already doing. So, because like I get 5 or 6 signings a day with land title, and then I've got an 8-year-old, and then I'm doing these classes, and then I got to travel back and forth to Grand Junction because my sister just had a baby. My daughter's about to have a baby.
Okay.
I just don't have the time or the discipline to do it right now. I mean,
Okay.
I'd have to get up at like 5 in the morning, and I like to sleep in. So
I understand. Monica will let you know. I am definitely, when it comes to business, I am that mastermind girl for you. So I'm still going to be tinkering around with it because there's Maverick needs some competition as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and I don't necessarily like how Maverick does it either. There is no negotiating whatsoever. It's $70. That's it. But I don't know if what they're getting from the dealership. Are they getting $150 from the dealer? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit of research I've done with them. They seem to have the dealerships in the West Coast kind of under their belt. So that leaves your part of the country, my part of the country wide open. So I'm still tinkering with it. So whenever you want to circle back.
Well, yeah, let's collaborate. I mean, maybe you and I can carve out some time where we can really discuss what it would take, and then go from there.
Yeah, because that's a big opportunity in my opinion. Just waiting.
I think so too. So does Monica. She thinks so as well, and I agree with her.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
So another
Happy Sunday, Tammy.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.